Hey everybody, we are back live. It's been a few weeks. Like I said, I'm not forcing this. I just want to do it when I have somebody on and talk about some fun stuff and learn a few things. And tonight we've got Tyer Kraft with us. And I just fished with Tyler last week. Well, almost a week tomorrow, but it was an amazing day. We'll get to that later. I mean, it's literally a trip where everywhere you thought there was a fish, there was a fish, maybe two sometimes. But we're gonna start. Actually, we're also gonna do a drawing for the Bill Herzog rod that he built. It's a fiberglass blank, and it's got a spoon on it. He signed it. People at the show signed up for the drawing, and then I did a 1-day extension online for people that signed up for 2 years. And then down here, I think in that cup, we got a whole bunch of tickets for a fishing trip with James Moore's guide service. He's got a trip that he's given away for 2 people, and they can take 2 friends because we're going to make a video out of that. And if you bring your friends, then there'll probably be more talking, make the video more fun to watch versus 4 unknowns. You know, it's like by the end of the day, maybe somebody says something to each other. I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to be doing that. And James is also booking trips on the Columbia for springers or wherever it's open. You know, it kind of bounces around this time of year. But if you look him up, you can find his information on his Facebook page. But be sure to look him up. Really nice guy. Not just because he's my son-in-law. But anyway, So Tyler, let's bring up some of these photos. I always want to try to let people get to know, you know, who we're talking to and what got them into fishing. So this is funny. He sent me this picture, and I mean it's totally cool. Gosh,
that's little me. I was just before I turned 3. That was January of 1993, about a week before my birthday. First winter steelhead ever on my home river.
I mean,
me and my dad.
You look like you're going to put it under your pillow.
Oh, yeah. No, believe me, I've done all sorts of stuff. Back when I was a little kid, my dad would be cleaning fish. I put tails in my mouth, all sorts of things. I probably shouldn't go there. So, but when you love fishing, that's what you do, right? Definitely. Yeah.
So this is funny. As I said, you know, hey, send me some photos. So he sent that photo, and it's like nothing. So then I said, well, hey, you got some pictures of salmon or steelhead from the last couple of years? So all of a sudden, ding, I've got like 40 pictures on my phone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't put all of them up. But so here's, I think some springers.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was a couple years ago up in the gorge fishing spring Chinook. I mean, that's where I live, and that's my favorite place to fish them.
I tried to keep them in like a yearly not yearly, but seasonally chronicle order. And I think that's another springer.
Oh, yeah. Spring Chinook, me and my kids, that was 2 years ago. They're growing up fast, but I mean, it's a family thing. That's what we love to do. And it's the best when you get to share it with your family and your kids. And growing up the way I did, everybody in my family sharing it with me, it's awesome that now I get to turn around and share that with my own family and take them to the same spots to where it all began for myself.
It's funny because I have a couple pictures almost identical to that of Chelsea and Lindsay. Except we don't have a fish, sadly. I must not have been as good a fisherman.
No, you're still out there trying, though. I mean, I can tell you just as many times that we haven't had a fish.
So that's a nice one. Where was that at?
That's Summer Chinook. That's below Bonneville Dam. Mm-hmm. That's me and one of my good friends. I've got a couple spots below Bonneville that'll kick them out here in late May and June.
So were you anchor fishing, trolling?
I was anchor fishing. That was about middle of June, depending on the flow. I usually always anchor up because the flow is pretty high that time of year. But depending on the flow, I'll run spinners if the water's cleaner. I like to fish some fast edges. If we're on higher, dirty water, I anchor up against the edges of the bank, and then I'm fishing plugs wrapped with tuna, sardine, whatever you want to put on there. But gotcha. Just kind of play it by ear and what the flow is and the turbidity, what we got going on for kind of color of water. And
this was a nice fish. I don't know.
That was last fall. That was up in the gorge. That was a good one. I don't carry a scale, but that was definitely a big fish.
Was that one trolling? Or?
That was trolling up there on a 3.5. I believe it was a Bronco, if I remember right. Yeah,
the 360.
360. Yep.
So We're getting to the next picture. There it is.
Yep,
Sorry
so
about
that's fall time with some friends and family. We're below Bonneville. That's pretty much where I live and grown up, has been kind of at the start of the gorge, and that's the area that I specialize in, is kind of that whole start of the gorge going east about Hood River. So that's
nice.
a lot of good times with friends and family, and so thankful I get to share that with them.
Yeah, I gotta say, it is nice to take family and friends for sure.
Oh yeah,
and it looks like you got a lot of friends and family though. Look at these guys.
Well, over the years, you're just like fishing. If you can get into them, people are going to ask you to go, and friends are going to ask you to go, and friends are friends, and that's how you keep making more friends, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
now, where was that? Did you already say, or did I miss that?
So the last couple ones, those have been up in the gorge above Bonneville. Those are fall fish right there.
Okay.
I mean, people think just because you're a few hundred miles away, they might start turning a little bit, but those fish right there will tell you otherwise.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're nice and fresh.
So what's the next one here? This is a fall? Is that
That's a fall. That's a fall fish. Yeah, that's right below Bonneville Dam. That's me and my grandfather. He grew up fishing there, and usually in the fall time, I try to get him out. He's 90 years old, going to be 91 in October. And
I was gonna say, it looks like somebody you're related to, because you both got big, huge smiles. And, having a good time.
I mean, he's the one that kind of started it all for my dad and I, and very thankful that I get to share it back with him now. And on a nice, warm, sunny afternoon in the fall time, it's pretty hard to beat going with your family like that.
So we got another photo coming up here. Hit the eyeball. Oh, we'll go back to the main camera. Hit transition. And then we got Susan. We got Susan running the camera today. She's learning.
She's doing a great job.
It's stressful.
Yeah, she's doing killer.
So she's going to bring up the next picture. I think the next one down. There you go, and hit transition. There we go. So that is your son,
That's
right?
my son, Mason. That was here about 2 falls ago. Those are some coho from the Columbia River. And, I mean, kind of have a pretty special coho fishery that we get to do. You got to go with me on this last fall. And even though it was a little bit of a slower day, it's a pretty cool fishery. And it's really cool that there's a certain time of year and some certain places where you can really just target Columbia River coho.
Last year, so I mean, you're so close too. How long a drive is it?
From where I'm going, it takes about an hour. I mean, that's my furthest. That's about far east as I go. Besides going, to
the Klickitat.
Yeah, besides going walleye fishing. So,
but I mean, really, like right next to the Columbia where you're at.
Yeah. Oh yeah, fishing Bonneville, below Bonneville. I mean, that's kind of, I'd say, kind of 205 area all the way up to the Dalles. That's my zone.
This is a summer fish, right?
That's a fall fish.
Oh, fall fish.
That's a fall fish. That was a guy that I work with, and he'd never caught one before. So that was a one day after work last year, and went out, and within about 10 minutes, he reeled that in.
That is a nice fish.
Yeah, really cool.
But must be up in that 20-pound range, I'm guessing. So let's see. We got a few more. Here's some more pictures.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. He sent like tons of photos. I was like, how am I going to pick? I thought, well, let's pick some faces. More people with fish.
Yeah.
But you got some really cool just fish pictures as well. So who are these guys?
So one of the guys I worked with, one of the guys I've grown up with, and that's up at the Klickitat, fishing up there at the mouth for coho. Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. And the certain times of the year, it's really good for fishing just coho and versus the fall Chinook, and that's later. That's probably about the end of October, beginning of November, and I mean they're really nice bright fish.
Okay, now of course you got to have wifey in here, right?
Oh yeah, that's the whole family. This is what we do. It's a family affair.
And what are all their kids' names again?
So my oldest daughter behind my wife, standing up with her arms up in the air. That's my oldest daughter, Madison. The one hugging the fish is Peyton, and then my son Mason down there at the bottom. Yep. Then my wife Samantha holding the fish.
Well, looks like they all like to go fishing, so that's cool.
Yep.
It's nice to have a fishing family.
Heck yeah.
Doing stuff together, camping,
everything,
getting outside. So let's go back to the main camera, and we should talk a little about. So last week we went fishing. Not gonna mention any names, but. Just an amazing day, really. You only have days, like handfuls of days, it seems like, where like it's just magical. I mean, really, like it's just over and over, fish here, fish
everywhere.
there, fish where they look like there'll be, fish where there shouldn't be. Just, and you just fish and cast all over the place, which is kind of what happened the other day. And I've got, there's a photo here of Tyler. If you bring up the interview pictures down at the bottom there's the one with the video, Tyler. There you go. And so this fish, it was funny because, actually, this is the one that like kicked butt.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the hardest fighting winter steelhead I have hooked into in the last couple of years. It wasn't by any means, it was a really nice one, but by no means a giant one. But man, did it have the attitude of one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Look, it's just a healthy, strong fish. I mean, we were in a kind of a tough spot, though, because the boat was pinned up against a bunch of rip-rap stuff on the bank. And then the water was fast on the other side, and he's trying to fight it.
We were sitting high up in the hole. The water was ripping where we hooked it. We were trying to do the best we could to kind of bring it in back towards us. And then then we decided to move a little bit. I handed off the rod to Lucas, and we kind of came around the corner, as you can see in the video, and got to a little bit softer water. And even then, the fight was on. I mean, I fought the fish for probably a good 3 minutes, and then before we moved down, and I handed the rod off to Lucas, and then he fought it for probably about a minute or two before we netted it. I mean,
at least,
yeah, it was perfect though. I mean, it's teamwork. Doing winter steelhead out of a drift boat is teamwork, 100%.
And then we've got this crazy video. You'll have to go back into the second. There you go. Hit that and transition. There we go. So this is crazy. So I said, hey, drop me off on the bank. I'm gonna fly the drone. And you guys catch a fish while I'm flying the drone. Well, there it is. Oh my gosh, I'm like flying the drone around. This fish is jumping around. And I don't fly this thing every day, so it's not like the best video in the world, but it's pretty darn cool. And you can see, I think right here, Lucas is gonna bring it in. And then Lucas and Tyler are doing this and running the camera on the boat at the same time.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold the camera and net the fish.
I know.
I'm sure you see in the video at one point the camera kind of looks down because I was like, I got to net this fish for him. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Lucas is just like grinning like crazy right here, smiling like, I can't believe this is happening. And none of us could. We're all like in shock the whole time. In fact, I just played music here because I think all you guys are talking about is how cool it is.
Yeah, we were talking. Then we're talking to you on the bank going, Tony, are you getting this? And we were making sure we all had all angles covered on this one. This was a pretty special fish. I would say out of the whole day, this was probably the most special one right here.
Honestly, I caught probably 3 or 4 jumps. I must have jumped like 8 times. It was like, jump. It was like it knew it was on camera.
Yep.
Or it knew that a goose was going to try to destroy the camera.
Oh, a few minutes later, it knew a goose might have been coming.
So there you go. So that was like just crazy. I mean, just like stuff like that just doesn't happen.
No.
I mean, maybe if you're fishing for a species that one after another, fly the drone.
Yeah, but for winter steelhead, man, we hit it on a day where conditions were right, odds were in our favor, and we were on a great section of a river where there was just a lot of fish that day. And it was the perfect day to spend with us. So he brought in the rigs today. Yeah, what we were fishing. And the rods and everything, the beads, hooks, and if you go to the table cam here, you can kind of go over all the stuff. Yeah, we got some stuff kind of folded down, so a little hard to navigate, but we can go over enough of it so everybody gets the gist of what we had going on that day. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Right there. So on this one, we did really well last week. We were bobber dogging eggs. We're going to switch transition. We're going to get there. Don't worry. Everybody hold on. There we go. It's a live feed. So, that's not all perfect, but, we try. when we went on our steelhead trip, the water was high that day. Although it does look really clear in the river, we were fishing a rain-fed river where it clears up pretty quick. Mm-hmm. When the water's that high and flowing fast, one of my favorite methods is bobber dogging, essentially drift fishing, but you also have a visual indicator of what's going on with your stuff on the bottom. Mm-hmm. And what I like doing with that is I think we went over this in the video, but for starters, I run about a 10-foot section, 8 to 10 feet of 20 pound. And this is kind of your bumper line that your bobber slides on. And then I do a 3-way swivel down here. I don't know if we can see that in there. Oh, yeah. Where are we going here? Or you come towards me a little bit. Yeah. So I run a 3-way swivel with just a little snap clip, and that's so I can change out my pencil lead. The biggest thing when you're doing this is getting the right amount of lead on. That way you're not dredging, you're not getting snagged up, you're just skipping along.
And you're running this
the bobber stop,
to keep it from hitting.
Hopefully.
From running the bobber down.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, we don't want to get snagged up, but when we're doing this kind of stuff, what happens? We get snagged up.
Yeah, and you don't want to lose everything.
No, when bobbers are $5 a bobber, you want to hang on to them for a while. Yeah. So we run that bobber stop to give us a chance of getting our bobber back. I go to the 3-way swivel, a piece of pencil lead, and then I do about 2.5, 3 feet a leader, depending on the clarity of the river. If it's really clear, you could go longer, or if it's really dirty, you could go shorter. And
then you're running like the side drift and rig. With
growing up fishing, side drifting, a 2-hook setup with a corky and a little bit of yarn and eggs, that was one of your most deadliest combinations. And
oh yeah, you're not gonna miss a fish.
No.
Can't even get it, through there. It's like my cat's claws. It's not gonna miss you.
Nope.
So that's this rig, and then right here you've got this guy.
Yeah, and we caught a few fish and had a few other opportunities on this setup. You actually got your fish on this style right here.
Yeah, we started with some eggs, and I snagged up as usual.
No, it happens.
But then you got this is the WFO.
So that's a WFO cluster. They came out with them now. Shoot, it's probably been 6-7 years, and I really like them. I like fishing odd shaped beads. This is like a little egg cluster right here. Like any bead fisherman, it's gotten really popular in the last handful of years. I like to peg about 2 to 3 fingers of width from the hook, and then I take it another notch forward, and I tie a little glass bead in line. I don't think we can see that right there. So I tie a little glass bead in line.
You can probably see it. Yeah, it's a little red bead. There it is, right there.
Yeah. So you tie that, and you get it to where it's about 2.5, 3 fingers away.
There you go.
And then that helps it so your bead stays in position. And then I take it another notch where I put a sequin in there, so that way when you thread your bead on, there's no way it can pull over and go down to your hook.
Yeah, and it's set for life. Man.
Yeah, and I like doing that because we're fishing so often and we're doing so many different things, and you get snagged up or miss a fish, but you never have to reset your bead. It's always just reel it back in and cast back out.
And literally at this point, if it was to go over, it'd probably
You're
damage.
Done.
It would damage it.
And then we just tie on another leader and go from there.
Start over. But you gotta hit the table cam button for view. Come back out, and then you've got a
BB shot.
You've got a BB shot on the right screen. Hit the table cam button. Yeah, that works. So
perfect.
So then you got a little piece of shot just to kind of
help get yourself down there.
Bring it down.
We're using such a long leader. It's probably about 4 feet a leader here. Mm-hmm. So it really helps to have that BB shot on there. So that way when you cast out, your leg gets you down, say, a foot and a half off the bottom. And then that lays out behind you and just starts kind of weaving around on the bottom below itself. And that BB shot is what keeps that leader in the zone.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to main camera. There you go. Transition. There you go. So cool. Wow. And this stuff, he goes over all this stuff in the video. If you get a chance to watch it, it's a really good video.
It's awesome.
Over the top. Unbelievable. Really it is. It's like, wow.
From start to finish, we were on fish. Literally, start to finish.
And Lucas is like on cloud 9. He's like, just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it was the best day ever. And it was an awesome day.
It was awesome. Yeah, that's what we fish all winter for those days like that where we can share it with each other, and from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, catch fish. That's the amazing part about it, and it's cool that we still have a lot of these awesome days in front of us. So
something a little bit off the subject, but we kind of talked about it while we were fishing. Like the hatchery fish, okay? Everybody's always talking about hatchery fish, wild fish. We talked about it while we were fishing, but we didn't put it on the video. But you've got genetics and you've got learned behavior, right? And these guys kind of brought some of this stuff up. And some of the hatcheries feed from the surface, and then there's people that know way more about this than I do.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Tyler probably might know more than I do about it, but in general, a wild fish, it's born in the river, hatches in the river, turns into a fry. It it has to learn everything on its own, has to survive on its own. It learns, dark places are probably better than lit places. It has to feed on whatever it can find to survive. Obviously, hatchery fish, they hatch. They don't have any issues about predation unless a bird gets into the thing or whatever. But they're fed, a lot of hatcheries feed on the surface. Well, some hatcheries feed underwater. So the fish know that, you teach them that being on the surface is bad.
Danger.
Yeah,
right?
danger. I'll be eaten. So feed them on the bottom. And so I think a lot of people don't realize, if you just think it's about genetics, it's not. It's not at all. It's you can use a human factor. People that are raised in certain situations or they learn certain things, later on might do better in certain situations. Well, fish and animals are the exact same way. And if they don't know any better or they're not learned in that type of behavior, then they're going to be apt to fail. Anyway, so that's getting a little bit.
No, I mean, it's all good information. I mean, that's why it's good. And Lucas brought it up. He knew a little bit more, I think, than both of us on this subject, to be honest, when we were out there. But there's a couple of hatcheries around, it sounds like, where they are, as they're raising those smolts in their weirs out there, they're feeding them from the bottom, which teaches them to look below them or feed off the bottom to find that food, versus a lot of our state-ran hatcheries where it's just a pellet-fed deal and they come out and shoot it on top of the water and those fish swim up and they're always looking up. And I mean, that's where the danger's at. And I believe Lucas even said on a couple of those hatcheries where they're feeding them from the bottom, they have fake predators kind of surrounding the pens to make them have that fear of, hey, let's not go to the surface. We could get eaten here.
Yeah, and so maybe somebody will be watching this and they can help in some way. I don't really work with the hatcheries, so to speak. I mean, I let them do their thing. But it's all about shared knowledge, learned behavior. We're talking about it right now.
Right.
The more you know, right, the more you can do to affect the things around you. And that's just one point. And like I said, a lot of people maybe just don't think about that. And it is something to think about big time to get the survival rates, at least in the places where they do plant fish, do the brood stock and whatnot. But it's just an interesting thing. So we're going to do a drawing. We'll do the Bill Herzog drawing right now.
There we go.
I've got these people signed up at the show, and then I also did an online drawing. Or if you subscribed for 2 years, you were entered in. It was the day after the shows were over. So I've got all these people that are in it, and I'm going to have Tyler just.
Oh, somebody's going to get lucky here in a minute.
Just randomly, just grab.
You're putting the pressure on me.
It's like cards. I don't know what's like. You're just going to grab.
Let's flip through them. Maybe shuffle them, right? I mean, if it's like cards, let's give it a shuffle here.
Yeah, we can go like this.
That way we're not stacking the odds somewhere different. Let's give it a shuffle.
Come over. So this is for a rod that Bill hand-built. It's got a fiberglass blank. It's a spoon rod. I mean, it's super soft, but
it's killer. Somebody's going to be so lucky here, and
honestly, you're going to want to hang it on the wall.
It's a piece of history. I mean, it really is. That's the way I looked at it when you guys shared that at the Sportsman Show. It is a piece of living history, and it's going to be really cool for somebody to have this.
So here we go. Just kind of flip her in, just grab
Pressure's on. All right,
we go.
Let's see what we got here.
I'm not looking.
I know. Let's see. Let's go right here. A little bit deeper, not too far.
There it is. Let's see. I gotta put the glasses on because I'm blind. So we got Brian. It looks like Brian Runyon. He lives in Portland.
Yep.
So Brian, if you're watching this, I think you can send us a personal message, but we also have your phone number on here.
Yeah.
So
you got phone, email.
We'll give you a ring. And actually, Bill took it home. I really don't feel comfortable with that rod around me anyway. But we'll get it here and we'll get it to you and we'll figure that part of it out as soon as we can.
That's awesome.
But cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
really. You gotta start thinking about where you're gonna put it. Maybe
above the mantle. That's where you put it.
Get it insured, maybe. I don't know. Right?
Oh, that's one of a kind. And I believe you guys had him sign it, everything. I mean,
yeah, he did all of it and brought it to the show, and
I'm sure it's coming with a Pentax spoon on there.
It does. It has it on there already.
Yeah.
And anyway, totally awesome. Think about where you're going to hang it, and then we'll get a hold of you, or you can get a hold of us. And then we've also got the drawing going on.
Yeah.
For the trip with James for Springers.
We got the cup right here.
I'll dig this one.
You do that, yep.
I'll dig this one out of here. So there's going to be 2 winners, and this is for a Springer trip. We don't have an actual date yet because, well, we just don't know what's going on with the run. So obviously, when we want to take these people when it's good, someplace where, they're catching fish. So here we go. Here's the first one. And this is Chuck Latancy. Oh my gosh. Chuck, holy moly, that is awesome. Okay. I mean, wow. Okay.
All right.
Chuck, I'll get a hold of you. That is totally
That's
killer.
super cool.
I can't believe it, actually. Yeah. Anyway.
Perfect.
Okay. Next one, let me dig around. And Chuck, he loves to fish. I met him. Well, actually, I met all these people at the show. And that is so cool. Okay, second one is Wendy Wilhite. I think there is a Doug Wilhite. Remember?
Yeah.
Doug Wilhite? He's a guy. I don't know if they're related, but she won. So
awesome.
Both you guys get to bring one friend with you on the boat. We'll let you know what day it's going to be, and it's going to be with myself and James Moore. And James, he's a guide. More Fishing's guide service and LLC. And so if you also want to just book a trip with him to go Springer fishing, he's available. You can go to his Facebook page to get his information. But wow, that's so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Wendy and Charles, and each get to bring one friend, and we're gonna have a good time and hopefully catch a few fish, make a video. I'm stoked. Actually, I can't wait.
Yeah.
So, what else? We've also got some stuff. So if we go back, I'm going to make Susan sweat. If we go back to the table cam, and actually, we can talk with Tyler about like some of his spots. I mean, there's certain spots you just don't want to bring up, like our steelhead trip. So actually, go to the main camera, and then hit transition. And then, so now we're going to go over to the interview pictures. There you go. And scroll all the way to the bottom. Do the Yosemite one. There you go. Eyeball transition. Perfect. So this was last fall, and that's my neighbor Mike. And,
awesome.
And so, I don't know, there's like so many different rigs. I brought in...
we got a trolling rod right there.
Right here. Yep. It's nothing too fancy. And this is what we were catching the fish on exactly. I didn't really explain it too well. So let's go to the table. And honestly, I'm just running a 360 flasher. Everybody knows what that is. I got the bumper. I don't know. That might be
probably a 24,
20 something
inch. I'd say probably 24.
I've got bead chains here. These are the really nice ones that usually don't give any trouble.
No.
Cheaper one up there. They got the anti-twist.
Looks like we got the VIP line lock right here.
Line lock and then a bead. Here, we can slide this down. And a bead. And that's it. And then if you go back to the pictures, we were running. Go to the next mic 2. Yeah, I think it's that one. We were just running. This is Yas. Yas got the other fish. Actually, Yas brought his own stuff. I don't know what he was using. Anyway.
Secrets.
But so let's go to the next one. So we were just using stuffer baits. Everybody calls them stuffer baits. There you go. And that's one of the fish. That's just a super bait. I'm kind of impartial to the hot lava I don't know. You probably know what that one's called.
Yeah, I think that one's probably the Seahawk or something like that. I mean, it's hard to beat blue and chartreuse for a fresh fish. That's a pretty hard combination.
Yeah, in general, for the salmon, I mean, yeah, you got chartreuse, chrome, the bright blue's always good, or just all chrome, depending,
Yeah, depending on the conditions. And one thing, I don't know if you have ever read the book What Fish See.
Yeah, well,
but
that was one of our books.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, going on that one, they say when fish are out in the ocean, why do you think blues and greens do so good? And the shininess of bait fish and all that's what they hue in on.
The colors.
So I'm a firm believer that fresh moving fish, they hue in on those blues and greens.
And then we were stuffing them with the tuna bloodline. I mean, I'm not making this up. And I don't know. We limited out, but it was a one fish limit. So took 2-3 hours, but we got some awesome fish.
Yeah, you're getting the bites.
All juicy fish. And I was using Fish USA, sent me some rods. It's a Fish USA flagship rod. This is a 10-foot rod, super stout. I mean, you wouldn't have any problem bringing a 30-pound salmon. In fact, it'd be great just for like lightweight sturgeon fishing, especially with that big, huge diver reel.
Some catch and release, having fun.
And I'm running, it's either 50 or 80 mainline, which once again, you could do sturgeon, maybe not an oversized, maybe. Well, I don't know if you chase them around, it'd probably work. But anyway, that's what we were using on that trip, if you guys are wondering. And if you get a chance, you can watch the video. Actually, that video took off. I don't even know what happened. I don't know if it was my charms or what, but it was like one whoosh, and I don't, Bonneville was in the title, Limit was in the title. And you know what? I don't know what makes these videos go. Obviously, catching fish doesn't hurt, but that was pretty crazy. So where's your, like, do you have a start place that you like to go fish first? Or
it all just depends by the season. I mean, we got spring chinook, this nice weather. We all have spring chinook on the mind. If you don't, then you're not in the Pacific Northwest right now, right? I mean, there's still a lot of really good steelhead fishing upon us, but everybody is itching to catch a spring chinook, and rightfully so. And
in the Willamette, a lot of the guys when the water's dirty. I mean, normally you need like 4 feet of visibility to feel somewhat comfortable, but in the Willamette they'll fish in the dirty water, but fish super shallow, like almost like you're attracting fish that are looking straight up at the sky, and you got to pass right over them. I mean, literally, if you're 5-10 feet over, I'd highly doubt
they're not going to see it.
Yeah, so it's a numbers thing, close to the surface, fish a lot of water. I don't know. I don't really go out there. I don't know if they're trolling fast or slow, zigzagging with the heavy current, or just holding. I would think that they would be moving around somewhere.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of them are probably working the edges and the little drop-offs or known spots where they know fish might hold during this time period. But I would imagine that's what a lot of them are doing. I fish the Willamette. I don't spend a whole lot of time over there as I live in Washington. But I'm kind of thinking about actually going spring chinook fishing this weekend with some friends. And I know definitely lower river where we're at right now in this time zone. I know there's got to be some fish kind of throughout the whole Columbia, but I mean, I think the lower river is going to be the best shot right now until we get a little bit closer to April, right before the closure.
Yeah, so we got tons of snow, cold temperatures. I think between the Oregon City Falls and the Bonneville Dam, there's like 8 fish. So
yeah. So and the Columbia itself is at a pretty low flow right now. I mean, they're holding a lot of stuff back right now. I don't know if they're doing projects upriver, but we have a lot of water being held back at the moment. So we're really almost in a summertime type of flow, minus what the Willamette is putting in from the recent snow melt and warm temperature. But so I think that's going to keep a lot of fish kind of towards down at the bottom of the river, I would think, with just our flows and not a whole lot of fish being around. But it's also the perfect type of water to target them in. We don't have super high flows where they could be everywhere or against the edges only. They're kind of could be right in the sweet spots trolling. I mean, when we go this weekend, I'm sure with the way the water temperature is and the flow, we're probably going to start off early on fishing probably say 12, 15 feet of water. And as day goes on, and depending on what the sunlight's doing and the temperature, maybe start moving out to that 20 foot, 25. I mean, I typically, I don't go too deep out here in the Columbia fishing for springers. I know in years past, if it's a warmer day, really sunny, we've caught them in 30 feet of water. But typically done really, really well fishing that 12 to kind of 20, 22 feet of water.
Yeah, and is that anchored or trolling?
Trolling. Yeah, anchoring years in the springtime where we've had the high runoff. Then you're trying to find just those tracking points along the river where you know those fish have to either come around a point or a corner in the river, what it might be, or just a fish kind of passageway. And then that changes. I mean, you could fish 6-8 feet of water, you could fish 20 feet of water, but typically with how cold the water is and everything that's going on, the fish are going to take the path of least resistance right now, as always. And with our temperature and flow of water, I would think if you're going out there this weekend or this week, I would start, especially early in the morning, I'd start probably 12, 14 feet of water and kind of start making passes going out, maybe 20, 25 at the end of it. But just from all my years of doing it, that kind of seems 12 to 25 feet of water in the Columbia is definitely kind of the sweet target spot, at least a lot of areas in my zone.
Yeah, I've back trolled like the upper Willamette, well, not upper Willamette, but below the falls anyway, right along some of the islands where there's some boulders, gravel kind of, and literally the water was high, off color, using some big quick fish, and we were catching them right next to the bank. I mean, it was a little bit of a drop, 5-6 feet, but then just a nice gradual slope out into the middle of the river. And water was high, off color, flowing. I think it was sometime in April, but it was we just kept doing this pass, and I don't know, hit 3 or 4 fish, kind of like the steelhead trip the other day.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fishing is dictated by the flow and the temperature, and just like what we saw the other day, a lot of edges where we were at because the water was just coming into shape. I mean, it looks crystal clear in the video, but the night before, it was not.
Yeah, so, you know, I know you and Lucas were kind of on edge the night before.
Yeah, well, I mean, living where we do and checking on that river, I saw it the night before, and I was like, man, we're right on the fence here. You know, I knew it was going to crest and drop, but it was just, is it going to be just right or not enough? Yeah. And we went for it, and man, we were rewarded though.
It was that level where the day before was too high. The day we went, it was crested and it was dropping, and the fish could have been anywhere. Yeah. But you might end up going the day after that, and they might have been cramped. They're going to start moving into really the slots, deep holes, and then they're going to stop not wanting to bite as much because they feel like they start feeling stressed. Like the day we fished was a total stress-free day. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, stress-free day, and plus the water's high. So when water's high, fish are moving, and we found them in a lot of spots where they were moving. Spots where when I drift that particular run, we got them in a couple spots where I don't typically get them unless the water's at that flow, because it makes those spots good. I mean, that's what it does. When the water's high, it creates spots that under normal conditions aren't really a spot, but when the water's cooking and it's high, that's a good spot.
Yeah, it was amazing. It really was. And you know, this isn't the stick weight. I can just hold it up. You guys can see it, I think. But it pretty much is functioning as a stick weight, even though it's just a regular pencil.
Just a piece of pencil lead.
Just, you know, old school, like you would drift fish. Mm-hmm. And we really hardly ever hung up. You know?
No, I mean, like I was talking about in the video and when we were talking about this here recently changing your lead is the biggest thing to this bobber dogging deal. Or even when you're drift fishing, when we grew up in drift fishing, the lead is your biggest key to having success with it. Mm-hmm. You know, definitely. Too little, you're not in the zone. Too much, you're snagged up and wondering why you chose to do this. And just right, you're getting bites.
And you had it just right.
So, I mean, that's the biggest key is just, if you're getting snagged up, go a little bit less. If you're not hitting bottom, a tiny bit more. And that's why I like the pencil leg, because while you're out there, you can adjust it real quick. But the stick weights are great. I've fished the stick weights, and really when I make these out and weigh them up, that's what I go off of.
So when you start your springer fishing, do you like to anchor, or you go straight to trolling?
With the way the water is right now, I'm going to be trolling. Yeah, I mean, I know we're kind of, hopefully the smelt will kind of die off. That kind of sucks. But also, I do really well on size 4 and 5 spinners if there's a lot of smelt around.
Oh,
so no bait needed. No bait needed. A really nice looking flasher and a size 5 spinner, and then it just depends if you want to fish whatever color. I mean, I have some colors I really like, but a lot of typical like rainbows. Those are really good colors. You know, pinks, blues, reds, and then you take it to the next notch. Do you put a coon shrimp on there or a prawn, or I mean, you can just kind of add to it. But typically, like this weekend when I go, I'll probably fish a couple rods, just a naked spinner, see if we can get that reaction bite, especially with how many smelt have been in the river. And I know from some of the people that I know that have caught a couple springers, they're definitely eating the smelt. So
and they're probably not as hungry.
That's exactly. So if you can get that reaction bite, that can be huge. And then also, I mean, you're going to have a couple rods out with herring. How can you not? These fish are feeding. So
the other thing too is, are you just using the triangles? I'm hearing more and more guys are even in the colder water just running the 360 flash.
So I'm really early on where we're at right now, in I mean late winter, almost into early spring here. I am very old school, tried and true. Say 6-8 ounces of lead right on the bottom, or kind of, you don't want to be dredging it, but tapping bottom, triangle flasher, 3-4 feet to a spinner or a herring, and just run it right by them. I mean, that's what I like to do. That's what I've grown up doing. That works year in and year out for me. Later on in spring, when I start fishing the gorge, well, yeah, I'm going to be fishing pro trolls or a 360 flasher in general. But that's a whole different scenario on that one.
Yeah, the springers are definitely do seem to be like they're deep. They like to be deep when the water's cold and on the bottom. We've fished. It's been a while. We used to run the troll on the Washington side of the Columbia above that, like Huson and Larry's.
Yeah, doing the I-5. Yeah, and then you kind of transition over and go down. Exactly. Yeah, I know of a guy that got one in there last weekend. So that's what I'm saying. They're throughout the river. It's just not a whole lot of them yet.
And like he said, you gotta boom hit the bottom, and you gotta check it constantly. Make sure you're down there on the bottom all the time. And I almost want to say we weren't even using flashers. We just had dyed herring and a lead ball.
Yep.
Granted, I think a flasher's good.
No, I mean flashers are attractants, but growing up, especially when fishing is pretty dang good, there's a lot of days where you don't need the flasher, and there's some situations where if we have the right water clarity, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you got the herring cut right and you're getting a little spin on it. I don't know. I don't know. Were you using the colored dyes on your herring, or
right there?
Which one? Green, blue?
I fish the natural. I'll fish the blues. Honestly, year in and year out, I do my best on natural and the chartreuse.
Okay, there's natural. But interestingly, the natural looks like it's blue.
The natural does look like it's blue, but growing up, we used to use that Mrs. Stewart's blue. Yep, and they would get them nice and shiny. But man, this Procure stuff, I mean, it's literally in the bottle. There's no more mixing or adding anything. It's just take a bottle and add it to your stuff, add it to your bait, and away you go. And I mean, do it the night before.
Yeah.
And in the morning time, you're ready to rock and roll. And I mean, if you like using scents, you can add a little bit of scent, or if you have some injector bottles, you can inject your baits while you're out there. I typically just mix up my bait with these the night before. And then when I'm out on the river, I might play around with scents. But honestly, these fish are so fresh. They're so fresh. They're feeding as they're coming in.
Yeah.
Just good quality bait. Just like what we saw with steelhead. Good quality bait. That's all you need.
And hey, we've also got a subscription thing going on for this. So if you subscribe, you can pick any of these 3 colors. So if you go online to the Salmon Traps, and hey, this is just working out natural because I didn't.
No, and honestly, I mean,
he's not making this up.
I use this year in and year out, and with the way the turbidity is on the Willamette right now, if you're going to subscribe, I'd lean towards the green one. Go for the chartreuse.
Go for the green.
Yeah,
go for the green.
Exactly.
Right? Like
it's not because it just was St. Patty's Day, but yeah, I would lean towards the chartreuse right now.
Oh my gosh! Did you see the Chicago River?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's the greenest I've ever seen.
It's cool that they do that. I mean,
maybe they used Procure, right? I mean, I don't know.
Well, if not, Procure should try to sponsor that.
Yeah, maybe they do. So green, hear that? Green, and go deep. On the bottom.
And you don't got to be, when we're saying deep, we're not saying 50 feet of water. We're saying 30, you're 10 to 25 feet, but be connected to the bottom. Watch the scope of your line. If there's a lot of current or you're trolling fast, keep the scope of your line under control. And
that spot that we're talking about, like you can see the color of people's eyes almost if they're walking down the path.
Yeah.
Maybe not that, but you're pretty close.
No, but you're close. You follow your ledges, and like I said, I like to start in shallow, especially first thing in the morning. The water temperature's cold. That 12 to 15 feet can be killer. As the day goes on, start, like we were talking about in the video, work it in a grid system. We're fishing a big river. The Columbia is a big river, but you can still treat it like a smaller river. and find those little pockets, those little corners, and kind of work it in a grid, especially when you're trolling. I mean, trolling is it's like you're out hunting, so you can just work it in a grid and really hopefully find where those fish are traveling. Or if you're marking some and you didn't get the bite, well, go back up and make that same pass again.
Yeah, and everybody's doing the downhill troll right now. The river's rolling. It's always rolling in the spring, winter, spring. But the other thing too is as you're going down, if you see that guy get a fish in front of you, turn the boat.
Give him some space.
Well, give him space, but go right through that. Don't be a jerk about it.
No, give him some space,
but follow that line, because the fish, and I know most of you guys already know this. The fish rub their bellies on the bottom of the river, and the anchor guys know all about this stuff. If you're not right where they're making their little path, you're not going to catch them. So always be aware, and if you got your GPS, you can mark it or whatever, and then maybe just keep following that path, and then keep watching for other fish being caught.
Exactly.
It's huge to find that one slot, and then the next day it might be 10 feet over there or a mile downstream, whatever. Yeah. Because they're constantly moving around, or they're on the other side of the river. I mean, who knows? They're fishing.
Oh yeah, and on that note, one thing. And it's very simple to do. I don't know how many people out there really do it, but if you guys are listening right now, this is a great tip of knowledge. Keep a logbook. I do it all the time, year in and year out. I keep, when I'm out there fishing, whether we're steelhead fishing on a little river or out on the Columbia, I write down at the end of the day what we caught them on, what depths we were fishing, and kind of what we were using, what the water temperature was, what the flow is, if it's sunny, if it's cloudy, all those things. Because after you start doing that for a while, you really see, a rhythm to it. You see, okay, I've caught them here when the water is, say, at X amount of feet at this temperature, and then as it warms up, maybe I catch them here. But then you have something to look back to, and that is something, it's super simple. Grab a notebook, pencil, pen.
Yeah, you're right. This is the water air temperature. This is the depth they're at. Yeah. So if it's a little warmer, maybe they're just 5 feet out, 5 feet deeper, maybe.
Exactly. So
they can shift,
And it's something easy, especially all of us with our phones now. We have the little note app on there. Go in there and you can just write down the date, 3/20/2024, and write down, hey, I trolled this area. Maybe I saw one caught, maybe I didn't see one caught, but maybe I marked fish at 20 feet, and then especially you lower Columbia guys, the tides are huge. Watch your tides. See what's going on. Tide. That's another thing. All this lower Columbia stuff, tides are huge.
Incomings, it starts to push. Outgoing, they sit down. Push, sit, push, sit, push, sit, push, sit.
All those are variables that are very easy to be overlooked when it's Saturday. We've been chomping at the bit all week to get out there, and you and nobody just want to go, Put a little bit of time into thinking about everything and the area that you're fishing, whether it's high up in the river, low in the river. Check your tides and go give it heck. There are spring chinook out there. The people are catching them. I'm sure there's more than what we're seeing online. That's the way it always is, especially this time of the year. People keeping it quiet, but you're not going to get them on the couch. And this is the best time to go have fun.
A couch fish or a couch potato?
Yeah.
Which is it? I think a lot of people catch couch potatoes. I'm guilty sometimes.
But this is what we got to do. And the Columbia is such a short season anymore, where it closes April 5th this year. And if we're lucky, maybe we'll get a couple additional days the week after, but probably not. And then we can really hope for, especially the people that don't travel in the gorge or aren't into fishing the Willamette and they just like fishing the Columbia, maybe mid to late May, like always, they'll open it up. And that's some really good fishing. And we get the early summer fish, late spring chinook.
In general, Oregon and Washington, they'll open it up early in the season. Let your fish wherever. Usually the water's high and cold, and it's a little tough. And then as the fishing gets better, they'll close the main part of the river.
Yeah,
but then you just move into all those tributaries around the river mouths.
Exactly.
And honestly, there's a ton of. There's hatcheries on these tributaries. That's even if the river was fully open, you
might do better.
Yeah,
that's what I know what you're saying. You really might do better by the run timing of those hatcheries and all that than actually fishing the main stem Columbia depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
But you might do better, and there's always the sweet spot every spring.
On the edge somewhere.
Yeah, but there's always the sweet spot where we have a good run. I know we talked about it on the video, but there's a lot of people out there negative views on our fishing and on the run sizes and all that. But everything, it's an ebb and flow, and stuff is turning around. I mean, even in my lifetime, I've seen a big turnaround for a lot of things, and I think we really are. There is a lot of stuff going on, but all in all, we are trying to go in a positive way here. I mean, stuff is really trying to go positive. We just got to keep fighting and working together as everybody.
So on that note, the steelhead steelhead at Willamette Falls are doing the best they've done. It might be in 10 years. It was down to like hundreds of fish. There was talk of being listed, and maybe they are listed at this point, but this year the number is almost up to 6,000 fish, which on phenomenal years it was up to about 12, and then they're not done. They're still coming in. They'll keep going over Willamette Falls into March, maybe even April.
We'll see probably middle of April still. Yeah, and
we've got the hatchery summer steelhead are starting to come in. We got the snow. We got the rivers are all in great shape for spawning. So a lot of good things happening. It's not all doom and gloom. It's very positive. But, don't be a couch potato, right?
No, you got to get out there. You got to enjoy it. I mean, these times, we're not going to get them back. And people always talk about the good old days. Well, you know what? They're still out there. That video that we did, it still shows.
Gosh,
they're still out there,
If there's one thing you do tonight on the couch, besides eat a potato, is watch the video.
Watch our video, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's living proof that the days are still out there. And this winter steelhead, it doesn't matter where you've been, coast-wide, fishing rivers off the Columbia, wherever you've been at, it's been good fishing.
Yeah.
We've had good steelhead fishing throughout the whole winter. I mean, you brought it up when we were out there that, if it's good skiing weather, well, it's probably really good steelhead fishing weather too.
That means there's snow, water, runoff. The other thing cool that is neat is, we've had all these different rigs that, Tyler's got his setups, and what he does works. And that's just his thing, like you can rig stuff in so many different ways.
Oh yeah.
You watch some shows and you think, oh God, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, you don't. Just to do what you always do. The fish are just there waiting for you. I mean, granted, some of this newer stuff, if it does anything, it gets snagged less. Okay, that would probably
that's the biggest thing. I mean, growing up, I'm sure you and I, we both grew up. Piece of pencil lead, a little bit of eggs, drifted on the bottom, and that's how you grow up. I mean, most of us around here, that was your intro into steelhead fishing. So there.
So the bobber thing, it really does get snagged up less. That's the biggest lesson of all this.
And it's a visual deal. If you guys are in a sled or in a drift boat, and there's a few of you fishing, doing the bobber dogging deal, instead of everybody casting out and you're hoping that we're all spread out, you can visually see it. You can feel bottom with that lead. You can visually see your bobber. And there is, once you start doing it and catching some fish on that method, you can tell when you're getting bit. Besides feeling it, if you have a lot of line out and you don't feel it, visually you can see it and you know it's on.
Yeah, but I mean, you could be dragging side drifting eggs or side drifting beads,
worms.
Everything. It all still works.
Yeah.
It's not like this is magic and that's not.
No, everything works.
The magic is casting into the water. That's the magic.
Exactly. Yeah, just being out there and doing it. That's the magic. And then just experimenting. That's the way I look at it. I fish a lot of different ways, and I'm very lucky that I get to fish really often. So, there's some days where beads do way better, or worms, or spoons, or you just got to kind of fish it all. And then also what works on, say, one river, you might have to change it up a little bit for another river.
Colors.
All these will work on every river, but on your river that you fish, you might have to change it just a little bit.
A little more weight, bigger presentation.
Exactly.
Bigger water usually use something larger to fish with for visual.
Yeah.
Faster water, slower water, clear water, dirty water.
Yep.
You just got to change it up for the situation.
Change your profile, change your attack, and then just keep experimenting and trying until you figure out things that work for you. And then once again, going back to my logbook thing, I know that a little repetitive, but man, if you're fishing a small river, fill that out too. a lot of our rivers around here have gauges on them anymore, and you can say the river was either at a CFS or a height and write that down, and I caught them on a bead, or I caught them on eggs, or a worm, and what color, and what time of day, and then you have something to reflect back to in years going forward. You know, I mean, really, it's a very easy thing. It sounds like it could be time consuming, but it could be 5 minutes of your day. Write it down.
I'm just looking on here to see if we have any comments. I'm assuming that
let's see if we have something fun to talk about
on here. And like I was joking with him earlier, if you dated his little sister, he doesn't have.
I don't got one, you guys.
Yeah, so you got the wrong guy.
Yep.
So we got 15 comments. Here we go. Let's see if there's any questions. A lot of these are just like, "Hey, we love you guys." I think. Because this guy's caught more springers in 40 to 50 water on the Columbia. Yeah, I'm with you. You know, a lot of times when we're trolling like deep 90-foot water in the harbor, these guys, everybody's at like 23. Then one guy goes.
It's all situational the way you're at. You know?
Fish on, 39 feet. I mean, right? These are fish. You know, it's not like
they swim.
Oh, Tyler is a naturally born fish killer. He says that's Rick. I'm assuming you know that guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that somebody you know?
Yeah, that's my wife. Yeah.
Pick me. Sadly, these were people that were already in the drawing from the show. But Tyler, please discuss colors for Chinook with blades and body baits. What do you got to say about that?
Oh, I mean, it just depends. Like we were kind of touching on it, especially with all the smell in the river. I mean, a rainbow blue tip, that'd be a great one. It's really hard to beat copper, brass, blood red beads. What size?
What size?
I'd run a 4 or 5 right now. I mean, I'm not trying to run them behind a pro troll right now. As it goes on, and you're doing the pro trolls and you start adding shrimp or bait, then sizing down to a 3.5, 3.0, kind of switching it up. But right now, if I was just going to go attack the lower Columbia, fish a triangle flasher, I'd probably fish a size 5 spinner. I mean, a rainbow tip blue spinner is really hard to beat. Chartreuse, a little bit of gold, depending on the turbidity. Gold can be friggin' awesome. Your coppers and brass, you just got to watch them in what depth you're at, because they will turn not copper or brass anymore. But gold's a great color. Blood red beads. Keep it simple. It'll work. Get out there.
Am I bringing up all the comments here? I don't know. See, I'm not that good with this stuff.
No, I'm not too much better.
I do my best. I think I'm down to the bottom. But I don't know.
If you guys got a question, put one out there.
Yeah. If you guys got any questions, throw it out. We'd be more than happy to try to answer stuff, because we're experts.
We like to fish a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, get out there.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
You're always learning.
So Tyler, he's part-time guides, right?
So I'm going to start doing that this fall. I'm this whole venture, my whole life, I've fished since I was born, and gotten to the point now where I really like to start sharing it with more people than family and friends, and hopefully make some new friends throughout the process. And getting myself set up right now, got the LLC started, going to my class here coming up in May, and then I'm hoping here should have all the paperwork back and be legal by July. So be kind of setting myself up for the fall run. That's where I'm at.
And he's gonna call his guide service Rock'em, Sock'em, Slam, Kill'em guide service.
Oh, I should have.
No, we were discussing this. He's just gonna call it
Tyler Kraft Sport Fishing LLC.
There you go.
Sweet, name. Simple. You know who I am.
Know the name.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Not to knock names out there.
No, there's a lot of killer names, but I think going with a name like just your name is simple, easy. You know who you represent, know who you are. And
oh yeah, I mean, you got a lot of the well-known guys. That you call them by their first or last name. Pretty much.
So yeah. Hopefully this fall, some of you guys will want to go. I mean, I've told you my zone that I fish. It's the Columbia River Gorge. You want to see some epic sunsets, sunrises. Cool places to take fish pictures, great times, good memories.
And they can go to your Facebook page?
Yeah, go to my Facebook. Lucas, he'll be doing my website here shortly. And then be kind of putting myself out there more and more as this comes along. I mean, I'm pretty much just waiting right now to go to my 6-pack class, and then kind of working on everything. You know, this has been kind of keeping it secret, telling a couple friends here and there what I'm working on, and then decided to kind of let everybody know tonight. And this fall, I'm really excited to get to share it with you guys. I'm going to have a lot of time to fish this fall. So once everything's going, you can look me up on Facebook. You can shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook. My phone number's on Facebook as well. So if you want to get a hold of me coming up soon, you know, I got a lot of good days available for our fall run, and that is some of the funnest fishing of the year. Great weather, abundance of fish, really fun.
Look Tyler up. We tried to get Lucas on here tonight too, but he had to go to some guitar music thing, I think, tonight. But then we would have had the three amigos from the video. But 2 out of 3, that ain't so bad, right?
No, we're having a good time.
There's a question.
Oh, we got a question. What is it?
Perfect.
Are you running 16 ounce on 360 when trolling at 12 to 25 feet?
So if I'm gonna run a pro troll right now and I'm gonna fish shallower, I'd probably be running 10, 12 ounces. It depends. I mean, if you're fishing a lot of rods, you want to fish heavier weights throughout your rods. But right now, if you're going to fish shallow, I would stick to probably about 10, 12 ounces. And then even with the pro trolls, I mean, I know in the fall time you can kind of fish them all over. But a lot of these fish, due to the water temperature and the flow of the river, they're going to be hugging the bottom in some scenarios. If you're fishing the Willamette, especially coming up, I'm sure some people are fishing 360s now. Then it's a whole different scenario. I mean, we saw one comment in there. A gentleman said that he's catching them in 40, 50 feet of water, and there's a lot of spots on the Willamette where you have that situation, but I highly doubt you're fishing bottom in that 40, 50 feet of water. Be almost betting money, you're probably suspended.
For those fall fish, when we were running up there at Bonneville going downhill, and make sure you use a dropper for your lead, because I mean it's just solid.
It's all rock. I spend a vast majority of my time in the fall at the Bonneville, and you snag a rock, you're gonna.
Yeah, so I run a dropper, maybe a foot, maybe a little bigger, a little longer. Yeah. But you know, once your stuff's moving, it just kind of hovers straight back. You know.
When you guys were fishing Bonneville, did you do the uphill troll right there, or just kind of fish?
No, I love the downhill thing, and the other thing too about the weight. We were using probably 10s and 12s, running about 27 feet deep. So you just work out from the shore there on the Washington side, find that 27-ish foot level, and work it. You can go a little deeper, a little shallower. The fish hold. The problem with the downhill up there is you can't do downhill close to shore. You got the guys on the bank, the guys that are trolling uphill. Some are anchored still, so you kind of got to work that deeper outer edge and do a little bit of this thing sometimes. And then when you get down, I think they call it the oak tree at the bottom. I don't know if it's still there or not.
Oh, yeah.
Is it still there?
Yeah, it's still there.
So when you get down to the oak tree, make a turn towards Oregon, the island starts to shallow up. Shadrach.
Oh, there's a big shelf down in there. You'll see the big green.
So turn left when you get to the bottom and go towards the deep slot. And actually, we hook a lot of fish along that kind of. I don't know if they like it. You know, the sun kind of comes up and shoots right at the river and probably straight flat with the boulders because the sun pops up on the Oregon side upstream. And I don't know, maybe they're just in there sunning themselves, and then they work from there over to the bank, guys. It's almost like a merry-go-round. They come up the deep side. No, I won't tell you where they come up from, but they come up and they get on that shallow side, and then they kind of turn and just follow that rock edge, and then they get thick at the bottom. And then they kind of follow the edge, but they'll spread out. They're not all in one spot all the time.
And once if people do go up there, you'll see what's going on real quick. That's for sure.
The other thing too with the downhill troll, and you can lose more stuff real fast. So use a dropper. You pass way more fish. You know those fish. They're swimming up. They're probably moving through, going up to the dam and looking for the fish ladder or whatever. But when you're going downhill, even if they're just going this fast, you are passing. That's just it. Passing. You so many fish see your stuff, and you're just waiting for the one that decides, look, we're good.
Turn around and grab it.
And they hammer it. Actually, I don't think we hardly missed any fish. They like hammer.
No.
Once they commit, like when you're doing the uphill troll,
it's kind of almost like you're sitting on anchor doing that stuff.
And you kind of like it's like your back bouncing forward. It's kind of on the bottom, ding ding ding. These fish they kind of like this. Oh, getting a bite on the downhill troll. No, it's just boom down. Get the rod. Because you're going the wrong direction, pretty much. Well, I say it's the right direction. but it's funny because you go up there, start doing that, and then you catch a couple fish, and then everybody's, does it.
Oh, yeah. It's just kind of a loop when you're fishing up there. You're just, the way you're trolling downhill, I see a lot of people just do that. I like doing the uphill troll personally. But I do go downhill, and I get them really good going downhill, too.
The uphill troll is definitely more relaxing. Let's put it that way. The guy running the boat can, take a chill pill, relax, run the kicker,
Yeah,
downhill, it's chaos. You got the snag, you snagged here, and then you're 50 yards.
Next thing you know, you got 100 feet of line out.
You got to turn the boat, back up, or you just, and then you get all this stuff on. You're gonna $20 bills flying away. No, you're going to turn around, you're going to go back up, and you're going to try to wiggle it out or use your hand. Right?
That's why when you want to have fun, you just go down river and fish where it's all sandy.
Or that.
Less stressful. Same amount of fish.
That's true.
Same amount of fish, way less stressful.
That's true, dude.
Right?
Then you just got to go down, a half mile?
Yeah, you just get down towards Camas Washugal. It's all a lot more sand and a lot less stressful. Same amount of fish.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
Well, is there any other questions? We got the 10, 12 ounce leads, dropper up at Bonneville, sandy bottoms down below.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else. We've got the tuna. If you go to the Salmon Trout Steelheader website, you can subscribe and get a can of the salmon bait. It's tuna bloodline. It works. I'm not making that up. And then we've also got a subscription that has a couple packs of the B&R beads. And I know we were using them the other day, last week. And these worms, the holy worms, actually, the worms are one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, they're killer.
You can't beat them. And it's always a really aggressive take. They just hammer it. But anyway, the subscription going on for that and a few other things. But and then we got a book sale. If you go to the AmatoBooks.com and type winter 2024, you can get any of our books for 35% off, and that's probably going to end in a few days, but I'll probably have some other sale going on. Was it spring tomorrow? When's spring?
21st, yeah.
A couple days.
Yeah. It was today.
Oh, was it today? Tonight. But hey, I want to thanks Tyler Kraft for coming on and for taking Lucas and I fishing last week. And once again, if you get a chance tonight to watch the video, definitely
highly recommend
take some time. It's literally catching fish the entire time. And even when we thought we were done, more fish. Yeah. It's like, thank you for watching. And then, hey, we got another fish. Anyway, seriously, that happens twice, which doesn't happen.
No, it was a very good time.
And there's some footage of after the goose hammers the drone as it's literally spinning
out of control
to its death in the middle of the river. It gets shots. Anyway, it's kind of cool to watch. So watch it, and then we will see you guys next time. Maybe I can get Tyer to come on some more. He's probably more well spoken than I am. And
we work well together.
And he's young and way more interesting than I am.
Well, thank you.
So hey, thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem, you guys. It was a great time. I hope everybody out there enjoyed it. And let's go. Everybody go fishing. That's what it's all about.
We'll do it again. I try to do these as much as I can. Then a week or two goes by, and it's like I gotta get something going. But I got a lot of other stuff going on at the same time. Like editing that video, that takes me a half a day. Susan's looking at me like, that takes way too freaking long. And it does, really. It's like, shouldn't I be doing something else and editing a video for YouTube, right? For God's sakes. Oh, I gotta be careful. We're on Facebook. Anyway, all right, we'll see you guys next time.